Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hello and welcome back to Pasture to Pin, a bi-weekly series from the EverAg Insights team. Each episode, we bring you news and updates on the markets with the intention of helping cattle producers manage their risk. I am your co-host, Michael Todd Rowen, coming to you from my home office in the Texas Panhandle. Before we start the first episode of 2024, let me do a timestamp. Today is Tuesday, January 9th, 2024 at 3:03 in the afternoon. It may be a new year, but my co-host is the same, as I am once again joined by my teammate, Trey Freeman. We will have with us as a special guest, Montana's own Mr. Dan Johnson. Gentlemen, Happy New Year and welcome to the show.
Good to be here again, MT.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Happy to have you both. Just as we have had our 2 rounds of the college football playoff, the Texas Panhandle has had 2 full rounds of snow in the past 5 days. The same can be said for the Oklahoma Panhandle on up into the northern plains. The 7-day forecast looks very promising. There's rumor that we have some polar vortexes developing over the plains, swooping down into other parts of the United States. Most of the U.S. will welcome the snow and moisture. That will also be a welcome sign in cattle country as we look to replenish pasture and soil moisture across the country. In the cash market, the CME Feeder Cattle Index 7-day average has jumped almost $10 since our last episode, settling at $229.02 as of Friday, January the 5th. Cow-calf operators are still in liquidation mode as pasture and moisture conditions are not ideal. Given that the forecast points towards not 1, but 2 polar vortexes possibly affecting the U.S., I would look for any calves or feeders that were held through the fall to hit the winter markets in the next couple of weeks. Live cash cattle have remained resilient over the past month as well. Prices have remained at parity between the north and south, getting as high as $175 live. Last week, that parity waned a little bit as the north remained at $175, but the south dipped a little bit to $173. Will those prices hold? Last month's Cattle on Feed report gave us some interesting data points that may point to a backlog of cattle. Trey will take us through that momentarily. Cutout prices have moved lower due mainly to a drop in choice primal. Choice cuts have fallen $12 month over month from $290 down to $278.83. Select cuts, on the other hand, have remained firm near the $259 mark. Trey, if I can bring you in here, you have some interesting points on the effects of choice primal as well as this backlog of cattle.
Yeah, we saw heavy placements and light marketings in September, October, November cattle on feed reports. So we have a lot of cattle on the front end we need to get through. It's going to weigh on prices in the first half of this year. These numbers are very similar to what we saw in the same time frame in 2021. That created a backlog of cattle into the first half of 2022. If you look at a live cattle chart for 2022, you'll see prices move lower into June before finding support around 130 and then posting 7 months of consecutive gains into the end of the year. So we're facing the same backlog issue coming into 2024. On top of the heavy front-end supplies, we've generated some of the heaviest carcass weights we've seen because of the milder winter. So this additional tonnage will weigh on prices in the coming months. With that said, expect a pretty heavy market the first half of this year and then stronger prices in the third or fourth quarter, similar to what we observed in 2022. Moving to beef prices, the rib has taken a shellacking since mid-December, which isn't out of the ordinary for this time of the year following the holiday season, but it is an exceptional move lower and likely won't see much strength until spring weather comes about. Forecasting beef demand throughout 2024, a lot of it's going to depend on the Fed. Should some of these rate cuts materialize, then that would lend strength to the financial markets and pressure the dollar. A stronger stock market makes Americans feel wealthier and grab for that higher price protein at the meat counter, and a weaker dollar would boost what has been a lackluster export market for most of 2023. So the Fed holds the key in a lot of ways as it comes to beef demand.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Trey. Let me reintroduce our teammate and fellow risk management advisor, Dan Johnson. Montana Dan, take us back in time almost a decade to a similar market back in 2014.
Yeah, well, you hit it on the head there. Thank you guys both for your good insights into the markets a second ago. I wanted to talk about looking at the market as a big picture. A lot has happened here in the last year, and we want to look at 2014, 15, maybe even a little bit further back, the broad picture of the feeder cattle and as well as the live cattle market, just to get an idea of where we're at. There's a lot of people that keep asking all of us risk managers, where's this market going to go? With the choppy sideways trading that's been going on the last 2 weeks, I've been telling people, it could go either way. A little bit of information can really move this market up or down. And what that means for us is that we want to be able to manage risk in this market. We can look and compare to 2014 and 15, and arguably enough, our prices right now and what we can manage our risk at are actually at that price or higher. I've really been talking to my customers and telling them, if you can make $500 on a yearling, I mean, there's some really big break evens out there, some really good profitability. Don't let this move in the market keep you from being profitable and locking in a good price. The market could go anywhere it wants. And you don't want to be looking in hindsight thinking, wow, if only I jumped on that. Maybe it costs $100 in premium, but that might be money well spent if you're looking at profits of $500+. So overall, I just want to push our customers and our followers of this video series to think about where their profit is at. And although it might cost some money to manage risk, it's a great time to do it in terms of being able to lock in a profit.
Thank you very much, Dan. It's always a nice reminder to not let profitability pass you by. Before we go, on our last episode, Trey and I had some predictions on how this past college bowl season would shape up. Trey, my friend, you predicted that your Cowboys from your alma mater of Oklahoma State would have no issues with the Aggies of Texas A&M. You were, in fact, correct, as Oklahoma State won that game 31-23, and Mr. Ollie Gordon did, in fact, have a game with 118 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. My prediction for my own alma mater was that we would also win, which in fact happened, as the Red Raiders defeated Cal 34-14, and our own star running back, Taj Brooks, ran for 98 yards and a touchdown. We also had some other bowl picks. Trey, you had Iowa defeating Tennessee, but that was a game where Iowa found they could not punt their way to victory. Now on to the playoff, where Trey and I had opposing views. Trey had Bama and UT in the final, and I had Michigan and Washington. The end result, drum roll please, Michigan and Washington actually reached the national championship game, with Michigan taking home the crown this year.
That's why I'm not a sports analyst. I was totally wrong on the Iowa-Tennessee game. I did not choose either of the right teams for the championship. And on top of that, I lost on the spread and the over-under with my wife last night. Now I have 2 weeks of dishes to do.
Oh, she got you. All right. That is a wrap for this first episode of 2024 of Pasture to Pin. Thank you to all of our viewers for watching this episode. If you have not done it yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click the bell to be notified of future episodes. Thank you to Paige and Lexi and the entire EverAg Insights team who keep us looking our best and keep us on the straight and narrow. Until next time, stay safe and pray for rain.